Welcome to Growing Pains, taking your business to the next level. The Culinary Arts program at Prince George's Community College introduces students to the range of skills and credentials required for a successful career in the culinary arts. Cooking, baking, and management courses are featured. The associate's degree in hospitality services management is a flexible degree designed to introduce students to the key skills and concepts required for a successful career in the expanding field of hospitality services. This, like many other programs at the college, are offered through workforce development and small business programs. My guest today is Chef Edward Whitfield, coordinator for the Culinary Arts and Hospitality program at Prince George's Community College. Welcome, Chef Whitfield. Thank you for being on Growing Pains.
Thank you.
So, you are so passionate about culinary arts and hospitality. So why don't you tell us how you got into that field?
Well, going back many years ago, believe it or not, starting out in the church, I often work with a lot of the ladies in the church, and one of them being my mother. And it kind of gave me the base and the foundation of wanting to work with food. But after my mom got sick, it was very interesting. The doctor was saying that because of the food that she was eating and et cetera, and that's how I kind of dedicated my life to the world of food. Not only the food that we enjoy eating that tastes good, but also that's healthy for you as well, if you can combine the two of those.
Well, that's very important because right now we're dealing with child obesity in this country. It's almost like a national epidemic, so that's something that is really important.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about, the program, the hospitality and culinary arts program here at Prince George's Community College.
Well, I started a program going back about 5-6 years ago, and one of the reasons why I came into that direction as far as coming back here to Prince George County is that we needed to build a foundation and have a training ground for where we was able to support the National Harbor and all the other big development that's taking place in Prince George County and also in the Virginia and DC area. We started by, fundamentally putting a base where we was using different schools and different restaurants and et cetera. Now we're in a situation where we have our own center, and then from there we're going to eventually be building a brand new center right here on campus.
So as a student coming in, what can I expect?
Well, for one, the college offers 3 different areas. When you talk about, you have a social degree, you have a certificate, and you also have a letter of recognition, and you also have this workforce development where we are able to train certain people to come in, to give them a base in culinary arts and also in management, where they can either start in the entry level or they can start in the management level. What's happening, what we notice here at the college is that a lot of the people that's coming in, some of them have a degree already, and they're looking for a second chance for as a career opportunity. Sometimes they're Marines, so what we do, each person is a little bit different. Some will go out as being chefs, some will go out as being managers. We have, for instance, we have 2 people who are entrepreneurs who started their own restaurant. One started a catering business. Another young lady started her own vending truck in DC. So for each person coming in, we can expect different things for each person, depending on their need. It can be anywhere from a degree, or it can be just basically some type of skill in culinary arts or hospitality.
So let me ask you, there's a big push to have military wives or military spouses get training and job placement. And I was thinking 2 fields, nursing and education, but then talking to you just now, I came up with, well, culinary arts might be something that they would want to look into as far as its transferable skills. So let's talk about that for a little bit.
The reason why I'm laughing is very interesting because before my mom passed away, my mom was a pediatrician, and she was in the health industry, and she said that there's 3 areas you can never go wrong in. She said that's hospitality and culinary arts, because people are going to always eat and people got to always sleep. And she said in the health industry, people are going to always get sick. And she said also in the funeral business, people are going to always pass away. So with those 3 areas, if you work in those areas and you have a strong skill, you can go anywhere in the world and actually get a job. And it's so funny, when I've gone to France, I was offered a position. When I was in South Africa, I was offered a job. So it's transferable. And my mom was 100% correct. Mom is always right anyway.
So, let's drill that into potential military spouses that are looking to say, hey, this is an opportunity for you to learn a skill that you can take to any part of the country as well as any part of the world.
And you're absolutely correct. As military personnel move around the world, often they spouse are left in a situation where they need a job. And if you know anything about military bases, there's always restaurants and clubs and et cetera. If you have some type of food service management, education, or training, you're in a good position to where you can actually get a job while your husband is out, taking care of work situation as well. So it gives you a chance where you can help support the household by bringing some type of income in.
So like food and beverage manager, concierge manager, all that?
Absolutely. Concierge, executive chef, sous chef, kitchen manager, restaurant manager. You have almost 123 different job areas when you talk about hospitality and culinary arts. It was very interesting. On June 28th, I'm doing an audit for Carnival Cruise Line where I'm able to go on the cruise line and taste the food and go on the excursion and write it up. This way they can make recommendations to their guests what's good and what's not good. So there's hundreds and hundreds of different jobs in hospitality and culinary arts. Entertainment, for example, culinary arts. When we talk about running the FedEx Stadium, that's food service management, culinary arts, and that's the kind of education they're looking for.
Wonderful. So there's a lot of job opportunities out there. Let's be specific to Prince George's County. How has the National Harbor impacted your program?
Tremendously. Very interesting when Gaylord, for example, was almost completed with their facility, we did a lot of training for them. And we've gotten a lot of people who actually applied for the position and their skill was not where it needed to be, so they came to the college. We was able to train them or retool them and then send them back over to the facility over there. So what's happening now, even with the national stadium over there, we was able to do a lot of training over there as well. You have a lot of concession stands, and if you know anything about entertainment, your money comes from the entertainment part, but it also comes from the food part as well.
Right.
When a hotel's not doing well, they depend on food and beverage to get them through during the slow peak. So they piggyback on each other.
Oh, I never knew that.
Absolutely. It's either going to be room sales and catering, or it's going to be food sales. You're going to find those three areas are very major. When one is not doing well, they expect for the other one to actually carry them through.
So we trained the folks to work in the restaurants. Take us through that. What does that entail?
Well, it starts with customer service is very critical. And if you know anything about Prince George County, which I know you do, we have never really been known for our customer service. But here at the college, what we're doing, we're retraining our people and showing them how to deal with people coming in. This way you can give them good service. And if we want them to be able to sample the cuisine, one of the things we have to do is to get them through the door first. We don't want them, we don't run them back out. So you're gonna find that come into the program, we teach them how to do some of the basic stuff, cuts. We teach them about the history of culinary arts, and then we talk about fusion and how we bring the different types of food together. Prince George County is a melting pot where you have people from all around the world, and being close to DC and Virginia, we go into a lot of that classical and international cuisine as well.
Okay.
And that helps as far as the foundation for the most part.
Because I know being someone that's out and about all the time, you can always tell when you're getting good customer service and when you're not. And some people, like I was at an event where it was sponsored by a company, and a lot of the employees were complaining about the location because they said, this restaurant has never been known for good customer service. What would you tell that restaurant owner to how to improve his delivery of service by the workers that work there?
That's a very good question. One of the things that you have to keep in mind, especially with a smaller business, retraining and ongoing training is very critical. You know, you just can't train somebody one day and walk away from it. But not only that, making sure you have trained, qualified people to actually train these people. That's another major thing. The best example of that, if you take a look at Chick-fil-A, for example, you can go to any Chick-fil-A in any community and you're going to get outstanding service.
You are.
Absolutely.
That is a trademark, and And I think smaller restaurants really need to piggyback on that.
And absolutely, they need to piggyback on that, but they need to put a system in place, you know, step 1, step 2, step 3. And the most important thing, just like any successful corporation, they're always doing retraining, they're having workshops and conference. And the purpose of having these conference and workshop is to retrain, to get the new ideas back into the business, you can get it back into the industry. One of the things that I find that is not really major, but it's an easy fix. I was able to go to McDonald's in Suitland, then I go to McDonald's, for example, out in Triangle, Virginia, and I was trying to make the comparison why the service is not that good in Suitland. One of the things I was able to do is to go and speak to the system manager, and I asked her to get into the car with me, and let's go to the drive-through. And they would listen to the verbiage in their introduction. That was not acceptable, and she sat back, she said, I never paid attention to it.
Oh.
So you're going to find that sometimes because we've been brought up in a certain area, we feel that we don't have to get good service, but it's not true. We shouldn't have to go somewhere else to get good service when good service can be developed right here in your own county. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, people always employ what they call secret shoppers because they want to determine what it is that their employees are telling their customers. But hold that thought. We'll talk about 5-star restaurants when we get back from break. This is Carl Brown. You're watching Growing Pains. We'll be right back.
It would take a very trained, skillful workforce. And one of the things you're going to
Prince George's Community College isn't just a place that offers more than 200 academic, workforce development, and continuing education programs. It's the first step toward the career of your dreams. It's a community of people who want you to succeed. It's where degrees are earned and potential is realized. Apply and register today. Call 301-336-6000. Prince George's Community College, transforming lives.
Hey, I'm Anderson Cooper. As a parent, you want to make sure that your child knows how to deal with bullying when they see it happening. And chances are they want to help, but they don't really know how. Well, teach them that the best thing to do is calmly walk away, find a teacher or other adult, and speak up. And do your part. Be that adult they can talk to and trust will listen. Join me to help stop bullying. Go to stopbullying.gov to find out more.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
Thank you for calling your GED Pep Talk Center. All right, now, are you ready for your GED Pep Talk?
Being nervous is okay. It just shows that you're serious about getting your diploma.
All right, listen, we all need a little nudge sometimes. I don't function without coffee in the morning, but it is gonna take more than a double mochaccino to help you here.
A lot of things are scary. Heck, I'm scared of clowns.
No quiero oír. Danny, no lo puedo hacer. Quiero oír. Danny, lo voy a hacer.
DMC, liking your pep talk style.
Just keeping it real, Debs, just keeping it real.
Louder, louder, I'm gonna get my GED. Come on, get your GED. Hey.
Whatever motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Get your GED pep talk and find free classes at yourged.org.
Quiet, please. Wait a sec. I'll take one. Oh yeah. All right. All good. Take care. Way to go. Nice. Bring it on. Gotcha. I'm here for you. Oh no. Please, please, please. I'm waiting. Interesting. Not buying it. Not fair. That's it. This conversation is over. Oh, brother.
Body language can tell you all sorts of things.
I'm having a stroke. I'm having a stroke.
Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time. Time to call 911 immediately. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment, and that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Learn the body language, the sudden signs, and spot a stroke fast.
Hi, this is Carl Brown. You're watching Growing Pains. And just before we went on break, we were talking to Chef Ed Whitfield from Prince George's Community College about the Culinary Arts Program. And Chef Whitfield, I was posing the question about how do you train workers or students to work in a 5-star restaurant or hotel here in Prince George's County?
It's interesting that you asked that question. Going back about 13, 14 years ago, I had an article in the Washington Post where the question was asked, what would it take to bring a 4 or 5-star restaurant into Prince George County? It would take the following. It would take a very trained, skillful workforce. And one of the things you have to understand is that the structure have to be so strong and the skill level have to be so strong where we have to be very developed to customer service. Once again, that's that customer service again. Right. And the best example is that in order to teach culinary arts, for example, you can teach it, but if you're a great chef, doesn't mean that you're going to be a great teacher. And because you're a great teacher, don't mean that you're going to be a great chef. So you're going to find that in order to build a very great 4-star restaurant or hotel, it boils back down to customer service, people who are dedicated, people who's willing to work hard. And one of the things that we're doing here at the college is making sure that they have the base. There's certain things you can teach, but certain things are going to be developed. So one of the things that we're doing, we're helping to develop that individual. Each individual is going to be a little bit different than the next person. Just like I said before, you find that you have people from the service, you have some people that's changing a job from a job position, you have some people that's leaving government and they're looking for a 3rd or 4th career. So you're going to find that, once again, that skill trait, that foundation is going to be very critical. But most of all is being very disciplined and willing to go to the next level.
Well, you know, one of the things was that when MGM was talking about coming here, is that some people were saying, well, we really don't have a workforce that can service the clientele of a 5-star restaurant. And so how do you propose to overcome that?
Once again, is when somebody walk into the classroom and I'm doing a training program or I'm doing some consulting work for a restaurant, you have to retrain the mind. You have to almost throw everything out the window and start from scratch for the most part. And showing that person the means of quality service, the means of customer skills when you want to have that strong foundation, is making sure they have a really good base, going to the very bare minimum, and then building upon that. Every person that comes in, for example, here in Prince George County, you can't compare that to Tennessee, where in Tennessee and a lot of the southern areas, you had that humble hospitality already there. So we have to rebuild that. And also we have to try to do things as far as getting the quality level of food where people are willing to spend that type of money. You have many situations where if you put a 5-star restaurant in a particular location, you have to say, do you have enough people to support that demand? Right. So you have to see if the demands is there, and then you're going to find that we can take it to that next level. But a 4-star service restaurant or a 4-star hotel, there's really no difference between a 2-star. The only difference is that they recognize that the quality of service is always got to be 100%. Treat everybody like they're the most important person that comes through the door. So no matter who you are, you could consider that person to be very critical. In the country club I used to work at in Providence, Rhode Island, we treated everybody like they was a millionaire. So anybody that comes through your door, treat them like they're a millionaire.
Well, that's a golden rule right there. I mean, I learned customer service from a lady that I thought, now here's someone that I was in undergrad when this lady was teaching me about customer service, selling perfume and cologne. She had it down pat. She didn't let anyone get by her without acknowledging them. And that's what, recently I stayed in a hotel, one of the Sheratons, and every time we walked through the lobby, every one of those front desk people recognized us and said, hello, how you doing? Is there anything for us to do for you, or can we get you anything? And it really made us feel good about spending all that money. So coming here to Prince George's County, and then hopefully we'll have the MGM opening up that would have a 4 or 5-star restaurant there in the hotel, and they're really looking for folks that would be able to become employed there. So let's talk about job trends, job opportunities, and what's going on in the culinary and hospitality industry. What are some of the trends and jobs going on?
Well, right now you're going to find that one of the biggest trends is to be what we call cross-train. First of all, you make yourself more valuable. You brought up another good point where you was at one of the hotels, and every time you walk by, somebody said hello. You're going to find, for example, in a 4-star, 5-star restaurant or hotel, you're going to be greeted by each individual. So not only that, but they're going to try to remember your name. They're going to try to remember your wants and your needs. So you're going to find the call, going beyond the call of duty is natural in a 4-star, 5-star hotel, restaurant, or even cruise ship. Norwegian Cruise Line, for example, you're going to find that their customer service maybe is 7 to 1, meaning that it's 7 service people to 1 guest. So you're going to find that if you go into a classical restaurant, for example, where you would normally have a turnover of a table 3 times or 4 times at Olive Garden, where in a classical restaurant you only would see that maybe once or twice in the evening, meaning that you're going to get a lot more service, you're going to get a lot more detail service given to you where you would not normally find it in a regular family-style restaurant. Big difference.
So that the detail, the attention to detail is the difference between a 1, 2, 3, and a 4.
Absolutely. You're going to find, for example, when I was in the country club, we had to remember the guest's name, what table they like to sit at, if they wanted their car brought to the front door. All these things is very critical. It's paying attention to detail will make or break you. It's so funny because I used to tell my mother, it's not the big things that often kill you. It's the small things.
Right.
If you let an ailment goes on and on and on and on, eventually it will eventually kill you. If something big, you have a pain in your shoulder, your heart is hurting, you can assume that you're having a heart attack. It's the stuff that we overlook. The same thing we expect in hospitality, not to overlook the little things. The little things can break you actually.
Well, you always hear about cheers where everybody knows your name. That's important.
That's right.
Starbucks tries to do that all the time. You having such and such today, because they try to remember your name and your drink. So attention to detail. But you brought up the cruise ship line. So what kind of jobs are available on cruise ships?
It's so funny. You have everything from what we call a hospitality nurse or doctor, where they should be knowledgeable about food and also as far as the movement of the ship. You have almost 63 different types of job on a cruise ship. And there on the cruise ship, you have restaurant manager, again, food and beverage director, you have waitress and waiters, you have room service people, you have concierge, you have entertainment. You have a combination of so many different positions. You have the entertainment director, you have the director of health and human services on one cruise ship. So you're going to find that it's a floating city. And you're literally looking at many different jobs. You even have hospitality security, where they have to be familiar, once again, with room service, and have to be familiar with the casinos and et cetera, because they have a small casino on a lot of these cruise ships. So all these things have to be taken into consideration. So you got gaming that you have to be familiar with as well.
So you're talking about just a whole host of job opportunities, and folks are really looking for jobs right now. And this is one area that they should not overlook is hospitality and culinary arts.
That's right. Agents and et cetera. You have a combination of so many different jobs.
So going back to like a hotel, what are some of the jobs that you guys touch upon in your training and programming?
From my aspect, one of the areas we focus on is training our students to have a very strong base in culinary art and hospitality, meaning that, once again, our community that we service is very broad and very general, where we try to give a foundation. And the best example of that, where we have a person that comes in from government who's been working as a manager or G13 for maybe 10, 15 years. That person surely have the management skill, but they don't have that specific training skill in that particular area, like in culinary art or hospitality. So we take those two and we make a marriage with them. In some situation, we have a high school student who's coming into the program, or a person that want to be retrained, where they have no idea, where we have to work maybe twice as hard, but it gives them a stronger foundation, so where they go into a particular area, they can have that skill trait that they need.
So like I was reading an article about restaurant managers now buying locally produced meat, seafood, and produce. What is that trend all about?
That is one of the best things we could ever do, because I call it a win-win-win situation. First of all, we're buying from the state that we actually live in, so that money stays within the state, so that's creating more jobs. And then secondly, I'm able to monitor what's going on. I can actually go to the crops and look at the product that's being grown. And then thirdly, I'm able to get my product cheaper, and it's also fresh. A lot of times we get our produce and other food from the Philippines, Australia, and a lot of these other countries, where now if we grow it locally, we don't have to use the preservative, so we can actually grow our own organic food. Right now, one of the biggest trends is organic food and being grown locally. So it saves money, it creates jobs, and it keeps the money right here in the state or in the county.
Well, that's a good note to end on. So, Chef Ed Whitfield, it's been a pleasure talking to you. What is, in 30 seconds or less, what are some pearls of wisdom can you drop on our audience?
Well, most of all, always strive to do a sense of excellence. Always treat people like they're all a millionaire, or that's your mom or that's your dad. But keep that in your mind and saying to yourself, treat people the way you want to be treated. You can't go wrong on that.
Thank you. Thank you, Chef Whitfield. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise.
This is Carl Brown, your host for Growing Pains. Thank you for joining us today. We will see you next time as we continue to help you take your business to the next level. To find out more information about CMBD Accelerator Program, call us at 301-583-5205 or visit our website at www.cmbd.biz.